Hi, Sandi Maki here with a little bit of heavy breathing just before midnight. It is the end of 2011, and it's our natural tendency, and it's my natural tendency to go with the flow of what everybody is talking about in reflecting on things that have happened and starting to set some new intentions and goals for the next year. This is a really interesting thing that we do, that we set our lives according to a calendar and according to a system. And it's almost as if some people say, well, this year I'll just write off because next year is bound to be better. Instead of doing that, I'd like to take the approach of being just a little bit more, being a little bit more aware each and every day of what I'm doing, and being a little more aware of things that I have done, and being aware of where I'm looking to go. Not that there's a specific goal in mind, not that there's a destination, and not that there's necessarily an outcome, but that there's a state of being or a place in the now that I'm looking to be. With all of these reflections that I know we all go through, if we've grown up at all in this society and in this system of calendars and ringing in the new year, the good news is that when we frame it that way, there always seems to be abundance and prosperity just around the corner. The bad news is there always seems to be abundance and prosperity just around the corner. Isn't that interesting? It's not good and it's not bad. It's all in a perspective and how we frame it. And if we look to the new year to be the place where we find abundance and prosperity, then we're limiting ourselves in the potential of this moment. And when we reflect on things that have happened previously, then we also forget about the possibilities of this moment. In the last couple of weeks, I have definitely spent more time being than doing anything. I've taken a self-imposed vacation of sorts, where I've avoided my computer and I haven't put time into things that I normally would. And I did this on purpose. And yet each and every day when I was doing this, when I was allowing myself the space to be, I still continually felt like I should be doing something. And then if something came up or if a topic came up about business or grand plans and things to be doing, I could feel myself getting propelled into action mode. And it's really, really easy to get caught up in action mode. And it's really easy to go from a state of being to a state of doing or a state of possible activity just by thinking ourselves into it. And thinking myself into it isn't the place that I want to be. I want to be intending myself into it. Because if I'm trying to think myself into something, then it means that I'm trying to orchestrate things that are outside of the flow. If I'm in a state of being, I can more easily be in that state of flow. So then a natural question that I ask myself is, well, what does that have to do with setting goals and aspirations? And how can I reach goals if I don't take action and I don't decisively do things? And that's the time where I stop and remind myself to look at things that have happened and to trace the reasons, trace the actual activities of doing that resulted in something taking place. If I put my effort into thinking about this, I'm normally pretty odd at the fact that it wasn't any particular doing moment that I had that caused an outcome, but it was a series of being moments that allowed things to be possible. We're working on compiling some stories for the Insights Group's birthday book. The Insights Group will be 4 in 2012. which again is just really interesting how we equate things to calendar dates. And I suppose that we need some kind of a bookmark so that we can look at time the way that we've come to define it. And in compiling these stories, I've been thinking about how I would frame the part that I'm going to write. And I come up with all kinds of ideas and all kinds of starting places. And yet I haven't actually sat down to start typing anything. And then I thought, well, maybe I'll just talk about it. Because when I talk about it, I'm almost exploring my thoughts at the same time that they're coming out of my mouth. And then I got one of our members' submissions, and I read it. And the profound impact that each of us has in each other's lives, I think we miss incredibly. I think we miss it because we're so busy trying to see our way into the doing of things that we forget how important the being of things really is. I couldn't have known 3 years ago, when Insights Group was about to open its doors, the profound journey that I would be taken on. And it was actually not 3 years, it's almost 4. But see, there we are with that calendar and that limiting thought of time and space. Because sure, Insights was 3 in 2011, but it'll be 4 in 2012. And what do we always say to ourselves but that age is just a number? And it's the same thing for a business. And yet somehow we keep cycling through to the importance of dates and timelines and the bookmarking of the doing of things. It's going to be a really interesting month, I believe, in January, in the reflections that I know that I'll be going through in my life, not only to this point, but specifically in the window of the last 3 years that I have to look at. Because this story that was shared with me, that'll be going in the Insights celebration book, gave me a moment to pause and look at how significant people are that have come into our lives, how significant people are that have come into my life, and through the sharing of words, allow me a moment to look at my significance. And I know this time of year that happens quite a bit. And I hope for each of you that you have a moment of, I suppose, reassurance by friends, family, and people in your life that you matter, because you do. And I hope in those moments that you don't discount your contribution. And I hope in those moments that you're able to remind yourself, just like I'm reminding myself every moment, that it's not in the doing that I've been significant. It's in the being. Because doing, and maybe it's semantics, but I see doing as forcing something through, as if there's some place that's not here to get to. And I think a lot of people may get caught in this cycle. And I know I get caught in this cycle. And I have to remind myself that where I am right now is the absolute perfect place that I am to be. And I need to remind myself that when I set my intention, if there's something in my life that I'd like to attract into it, then that's what I'm doing. I get to be and attract it versus do and force it. In setting intentions and goals, if you'd like to call it that, for next year, I'm reminding myself that it's not the most critical thing to have a huge, lofty, almost unforeseeable goal in mind. It's better to have a state of being that I'm intending to allow, that'll make the most profound shifts in my life. So, I wish for everyone. An allowance of time to remember and be grateful for everything that has happened to this point. And an allowance for intentions and new goals to be set. And balance to just be, because it's perfect, exactly as it is. Happy 2011 and 2012, and every now moment